Hello students, in this chapter we are going to study about mechanical properties of fluids. Last year you have studied about the behavior of solids under the action of force. Any substance that can flow is a fluid. We shall discuss mechanical properties of liquids and gases here. Let us compare solids and fluids. As we know, solids have fixed shape and volume, whereas fluids don't have their own shape. Solids maintain their rigidity for fairly large applied force, whereas fluids either have no rigidity or the rigidity is very low. The major difference between the two is solids can be subjected to shear stress, that is tangential stress, and normal stress, whereas fluids can be subjected only to the normal stress. The shear modulus of a fluid is 0. These are the properties of an ideal fluid and real fluid. The major difference is ideal fluids are non-viscous, that is, there is no internal friction, whereas real fluids display viscosity and hence are capable of being subjected to low level of shear stress. Hydrostatics is the branch of physics which deals with the properties of fluids at rest. A fluid at rest exerts a force on the walls as well as the bottom of the container. Hence, we define pressure as the normal force exerted by the fluid per unit surface area of contact. In order to determine the pressure due to a liquid column, let us consider an imaginary cylinder of area of cross section A and height h at the interior of the liquid taken in a container. If P is equal to F upon A, that is weight of the liquid column upon area, it gives out the formula for pressure as P is equal to H rho G, where H is the height of the liquid column, rho is the density of the liquid, and G is the acceleration due to gravity. As we know, our Earth is surrounded by atmosphere, which is made up of a fluid known as air. Hence, just similar to pressure exerted by a liquid column, we can define the atmospheric pressure at a given place as the weight of the air column per unit surface area at that place. As we move away from the Earth's surface, with height, the weight of the air column above you decreases. So, the atmospheric pressure also goes on decreasing. Clearly, the atmospheric pressure is maximum at the surface of the Earth. The pressure due to an imaginary cylinder inside the fluid can be studied for three different cases. Case 1, when the imaginary cylinder of base area A and height h is situated completely inside the fluid. Let us assume that the top surface of the cylinder is at level x1 and the bottom surface is at level x2. Let us also assume that P1 is the pressure at the top surface and P2 is the pressure at the bottom surface. Obviously, P2 will be greater than P1 and it will be the sum of P1 and the pressure due to the height of the liquid column, that is P1 plus rho times x1 minus x2 into G. Case 2, if the imaginary cylinder is inside the fluid in such a way that its top surface is at the surface of fluid. Here, the pressure at the top surface will be nothing but the atmospheric pressure. Hence, the pressure at the bottom surface comes out to be the sum of atmospheric pressure and H rho g. In other words, we can say that the total pressure is equal to the atmospheric pressure plus gauge pressure. Case 3. Pressure due to imaginary cylinder outside the fluid such that its bottom surface is at the surface of fluid. Here, the top surface of the cylinder is inside air. Obviously, P1 will be less than the atmospheric pressure, and it comes out to be P0 minus D times rho g. Case 2 discussed in the previous slide enables us to define absolute pressure for a system as the sum of atmospheric pressure and the gauge pressure measured for the system. The idea about absolute pressure, atmospheric pressure and gauge pressure will be better clear as you go through this numerical. Here you are asked to find out the total pressure at a point below the free surface of the ocean, which is equal to P0 plus H rho g. If you substitute the corresponding values, you get the final answer.